The magic number for the Cleveland Guardians to clinch the American League Central has been reduced to 136.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. If you do not believe me, then let me prove it. There's my lower third. You can call me Sully. I've been a baseball podcaster for well over a decade now, and I am now entering my sixth full season here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is indeed your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter and Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. I was going to drop this episode last night, had a bit of a tech problem, and I was going to put a little disclaimer saying, this morning's episode will be on later this afternoon. But I said, no, let's plow through this and give you an episode because there's a couple of things I want to cover. First and foremost, the trivia question, which was who was the last Orioles pitcher to get a save in the World Series? And we had a couple of people get that one right, including let's see, who am I gonna mention here? I'll mention Scott Horsemeyer again. It was Tippy Martinez got the last save. It was in the 1983 World Series on the road. There hasn't been a home World Series save since Dick Hall in 1971. However, I mentioned that John Murphy got the trivia answer right the other day, which was who was the only person to walk-off home run for their 500th homer. I said, you got it right, but I forgot to say who it was. It was Jim Thome. Jim Thome's 500th home run was indeed a walk-off shot. And also, it's an interesting night of baseball. Let's go over who owned baseball. Max Fried threw a complete game shutout. We're starting to see some more pitchers go deep into games. And I talked about that a little bit on the episode of Locked On A's that I dropped yesterday. Max Fried threw a complete game 3-hitter that was against the Marlins. The Marlins stink, but it's exactly what they had to do. They shut him out, gave the bullpen a night off. Max Fried looked like an ace, at least for another night. Riley Green reached base 3 times, including 2 home runs, as the Tigers doubled up the Rays 4-2. Mike Tauchman homered twice, driving in 4. The Astros they look bad, and they lost to the Cubs last night 7-2. And Logan Gilbert pitched the Mariners into first place. By the way, the Mariners, they blanked the Rangers 4-0. The Mariners are now in first place by themselves. The magic number for the Seattle Mariners to clinch the American League West has been reduced to 139. Please, 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 those who are listening to it, because I made a reference to a team's magic number. Please understand sometimes that I say some things tongue-in-cheek. Can we do that? Thank you. I say I don't want this to be explained to Joke Wednesday. Half wobs to Eloy Jimenez with a 3-run home run, but the White Sox can't get out of their own way. Starling Marte got 3 hits in the Mets loss to San Francisco. Eric Fede pitched well for the White Sox and then lost to the Twins. And Patrick Corbin pitched well into the 6th, but the Nationals lost 4-1 to L.A. And we're going to go through the power rankings, which are done by a vote of the hosts of the Locked On Podcast Network. But I just want to preview one thing, a team that is just climbing up the power ranking charts, and the Cleveland Guardians, who are just Ben Lively had a tremendous game pitching last night. Jose Ramirez got a key home run in the game. I mean, there was Willie Brennan also got a couple hits, and the Guardians did what they had to do against the Oakland A's by sweeping them. If you want to hear more about the A's, go listen to my episode that I dropped last night about the A's and their frustrating loss to the New York Yankees. But the Guardians have won their last 5 games. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They have a 3.5 game lead over Detroit, who, by the way, have a winning record. So it's not like they're just running away in a bad division. There are 3 teams with winning records in that division, and the Guardians' 3.5 lead right now is the biggest. And their winning percentage right now is .739, which, by the way, in case you're wondering, is the best winning percentage in baseball right now. That's banana boats, but there you go. And who knows if this is just a hot start for a team that's only okay, or if this is indeed a year where Cleveland gets to, I don't know, maybe go far. We do a power rankings that the 30 hosts, I guess it's 29 hosts of the Locked On Podcast Network baseball shows, because I'm hosting the Locked On A's show right now. We rank how we think teams are 1 to 30. Isn't just in terms of win-loss record, because some teams have had a good week and that are good. Some teams had good weeks that are bad. Some teams have bad weeks who are good, and you get the idea. But where we think they should rank in the order of things in baseball. And I put in my votes, and we got the results. I'm going to go through them today, which means I'm going to talk about all 30 teams for at least a little bit. And you're going to see the top teams. There's been a little bit of change at the top. These aren't necessarily how I vote from. This is the result of the hosts. But I don't think there's any doubt that number 30, the worst team on the power rankings, is the Chicago White Sox. They were on a 5-game losing streak. They've lost 20 of their first 23 games. They're being outscored. Their run differential is -79. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think we had played 20 games yet. The White Sox have lost 20 games. I think this is a shoo-in to be a 100-loss season. But this is a shoo-in to be one of the worst teams I've ever seen, at least in terms of win-loss record. And I don't see any help. I mean, yesterday was a prime game where with Eloy Jimenez's home run that maybe the White Sox, who had a lead in the bottom of the 9th inning, they found another way to lose it. Just a couple of years ago, this looked like the perennial pick to win the American League Central, at least for the next few years. Now, and we're going to talk about this on an upcoming episode of Locked On A's, and maybe I'll put something on. I've talked about it. There's a real possibility they could move. And putting a horrible product on the field, that's part of the Oakland playbook. Number 29 on the ranking here is another team that was not too long ago a playoff team, but who are we kidding? The Colorado Rockies. They've dropped 8 of their last 10 games, and they are not a contender this year, clearly. Next up on your power rankings. Ooh, I just lost the sheet here. But it doesn't matter. The Rockies' cousin in the whole expansion of 1993, the Miami Marlins, who got blanked last night by the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, they're not good. They're just, and again, a playoff team last year, and just they're 6-19. Only the White Sox are keeping them from the complete humiliation of just being awful right now, just being the worst team in baseball. Now I find this one to be a little unfair. Number 27 is the Oakland A's. Maybe I'm a little biased because, as you know, I'm the beloved host of the Locked On A's podcast. But the A's have been holding their own against teams not called the Cleveland Guardians. In fact, they have a winning record against teams not called the Cleveland Guardians. And they've been giving some teams fits. And when you consider all the things that they have been going wrong, well, and the fact that they're not in last place, I think this is a little harsh. But there they are. The St. Louis Cardinals are at number 20, are at number 26, and tough to argue with that. The Cardinals, who have dropped 7 of their last 10 games, are in dead last place at the NL Central, and the moves they made have not been paying off. Although they got a good performance from Sonny Gray earlier, but their 4 teams that look competitive right now, and oddly, the Cardinals are not one of them. The Angels, who won a game, and by the way, they put Mike Trout in the leadoff spot, and why not? He's your best hitter. Give him a chance to get the most hits. It's a crazy idea. They're at number 25. They're in third place, remember. The third place and the fourth place teams are going to be lower on the rankings than the last place team. The Nationals are at number 24. They played well against the Dodgers last night. They came up short. But yeah, this is a team that's still in its mid-rebuild. Oddly, number 23 is the Minnesota Twins. Remember the Twins? They won the division last year. They still have a bunch of talent, but they won the last 2 games. And of course, the greatest thing that could happen to your confidence is have the White Sox come to town. But the Twins are off to a disappointing start. But we'll see if things could turn around and if the Guardians, Tigers, and Royals could continue their solid start. Okay, number 22, there's your Houston Astros, who are in dead last place. The only team that's worse than the Astros in terms of win-loss record in the American League are the White Sox. And only the White Sox, Marlins, and Rockies are worse. This is not the team people were expecting to see with the Houston Astros right now. And they're not getting the right hits. And if it wasn't for a couple of great games by Blanco, one game by Verlander, wow, could you imagine this, how badly this team has started? This could be an aberration, and this could be something we all forget. But starting the season, they're already 10 games under 500. These are 10 games they have to get back. And if the Mariners and the Rangers are competitive, it's tough to dig yourself out of a huge hole. The Astros are the team that could potentially do it, but not a good start. Doesn't look good. 21, you'd have the San Francisco Giants, who are, they're a strange team right now. They want to be the Mets last night. They can't quite seem to have everything clicked just yet. And the fact that Blake Snell has been a disaster, I know it's early, but wow, he's been a bad pickup so far. So those are that's your bottom third right there. Can't say I agree with every part of the rankings there. I think the Astros should be lower than the A's right now. Call me crazy. We come back, we're going to talk about the middle third. And, well, you're going to see there's one in there that, man, do I not agree with this ranking at all. I've been told I'm a competitive person. Now, I'm not sure if you think that's true. I like to be right. When I'm wrong, like I was on the Ohtani thing, I admit it. But I am pretty competitive. I got to win. I think we all got a competitive side, right? Well, if you want to feed that competitive side, what you need to go to is Monopoly Go. You may have heard of it. At least 150 million people have heard of it because that's how many downloads it has. It's a great twist on Monopoly, where you play on not one, not two, not three, but on hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, including amazing cities that can bring you big money. But the best part is messing with my friends, because that's the kind of friend I am. I could charge them rent on iconic properties, just like classic Monopoly, but now I could heist their vaults for the riches myself, and the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. And it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people from all around the world in time tournaments to win huge rewards. So get into the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or on Google Play. This is the best time of the year to be a sports fan. With all the games being played right now and the playoffs starting in hockey and in basketball, it's the best time to be checking out PrizePick, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. Just pick more than or less than and 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. The baseball season is about a month old around this point, and you get to see which big players are having slumps and which ones are going to break out of it. You think Aaron Judge is going to break out of a slump? Then pick more than. You think Juan Soto is going to cool down? Pick less than. Bet on the NBA playoff action. Win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks as you would as the best players take the game to the next level. during this NBA playoff season. Testing my PrizePicks skills in baseball so you could make the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you could turn $10 into $100 with just a few taps. And PrizePicks now offers Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this basketball season. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Once again, download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Hey, are you still watching Fox Sports or ESPN for your sports news? Have to turn down the volume with all the shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and the news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channel app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Okay, let's blast through the middle parts of this. The Pittsburgh Pirates are number 20, and that's understandable. I mean, they've won their last couple of games, but they've lost 7 of their last 10. They're back above 500, so that's why it's a team above 500 at number 20 is a little odd. The Padres have been tapping on the Dodgers' door, but they're still a 500 team with a lot of talent there. The Tigers, I think, are a little too low at number 18. They have a winning record right now and would be a wild card team. At number 17, and this is absolutely insane, are your first place Seattle Mariners. Now, yes, I know they're in first place because they're in a very disappointing AL West. They're only a game above 500, but they're starting to turn things around, and winning that game yesterday against the Rangers means that they've leapfrogged the Rangers. They've won 7 of their last 10 games, and things are starting to gel with that club. At number 16 are the defending National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks, who have been basically flatlining right now. They've been getting some decent performances, and they won last night, but they're 12-13. At 15 is their cousins in expansion. There's the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays have been disappointing, and they lost. They got doubled up by the Tigers last night. They're 12-13. They've dropped their last 3 games, and there's just something, the proverbial Rubik's Cube has not been spinning the way it should be, but I never count out the Rays. Somehow they find a way to get the talent. I've been on John Schneider, the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, at number 14, but do you know what? The Blue Jays have won 7 of their last 10 games, have climbed back into contention. Bobby Witt Jr. is making a big pitch to be the American League MVP, and the Royals right now would be a wild card team. I know it's too early to look at that, but you're sort of seeing, hey, at this point, at least they're winning the games that they don't have to pick up later. They don't have to pull a Houston Astros. The Royals are 4 games above 500, and while 3.5 games behind Cleveland, they are certainly competitive. Number 12 are the Red Sox. I think that's a little high, even though the Red Sox have a winning record right now. I do like a lot of the things the Sox are doing right now, but some injuries are starting to bite them, and they need a real sustained winning streak against a team not called the A's. And at number 11, you have the always exciting Cincinnati Reds, who have been winning recently and are playing in that NL Central, which is completely bizarre, but they can hit, and I think they're on the verge of maybe making kind of a little bit of a splash. We'll see. All right, those are your middle thirds. Come back, we're going to talk about the top 10 in the power rankings. And, well, I certainly agree with the ones that are in the 10. Not sure I agree with the order. Well, my mom listens to this show. And because my mom listens to this show, I am not going to let her know what we're getting. Both me and my sons are getting her for a gift this Mother's Day. But I can tell you, I'm going to get you something, Ma. Could be flowers for the kitchen island. Could be some self-care essentials. Actually, my mom likes practical gifts that she can use, like the latest tech. Well, I'm not going to tell you what we're getting. I'm going to tell you how we're going to get you the gifts. We're going to be using DoorDash. You may use same-day delivery or schedule a week ahead of time. We get the savings that will make you proud of us, Mom. With Dash Pass membership, we will save down to a $0 delivery fee, reduced service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants that meet the minimum subtotal. Other fees, including service fees, apply and terms apply. You too can order now and get everything you need for Mother's Day on DoorDash. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Use DoorDash today. Terms apply. And don't worry, Mom, you'll get it. This is a reminder that Locked On has created the first ever national 24/7 sports streaming channel. It's on YouTube and available on the free Amazon Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is there for you with all the local experts and the national shows like this one. Go check out on YouTube 24/7 streaming live sports with the top stories and the top minds on Locked On Sports Today. All right, let's plow through the top 10 here. You have, where did it go? By the way, we do have, I didn't want to post it because I wanted to build this up Casey Kasem style, but here we go. At number 10, we have, I'm sorry, my graphic is gone. Number 10, we have the Mets. Maybe a little high for them, but I think they're starting to see what they can do with that club. The Cubs clobbered the Astros and are inching towards the top spot in the National League Central. The Texas Rangers, this is way too high for them. I know they're the defending World Series champions. I know that they are a team that have a lot of talent that just may have got off to not the best start. But as of this recording, the Texas Rangers are at even 500 and are allowing teams like the Angels and Mariners to hang around. They're at number 8. Not sure I agree with my fellow Locked On hosts about that. Number 7, you have the Philadelphia Phillies. I think this might be low. I would put the Phillies in the top 5. In fact, I did put them in the top 5. They can hit, they can pitch, and they're certainly looking like the team that I picked to win the World Series. Number 6 are the Dodgers, who all the talent in the world, and Ohtani hit a home run, which I'm not convinced has landed, but they're still in first place despite some of the disappointments that they've had, and eventually this team is going to go hit the aft thrusters. At number 5, you have the Milwaukee Brewers, who are 14-8 right now in first place and look very good, and give the credit to Murphy and everyone there to withstand some of the losses that they've had to still put a big contender on the field. And number 4 are the team with the best record in baseball, who are absolutely red hot. They're the Cleveland Guardians. And number 3, which I think is a bit high, but still looking pretty good, the Baltimore Orioles. Yeah, I guess it's a good spot for the Orioles. The Orioles and the Yankees have been flip-flopping at first place. I think the Orioles have a lot of talent. They've certainly been winning a bunch of games. They lost to the Angels the other day, so we'll see what's going to happen. The Yankees are in first place, and they're number 2 overall. You got to look, we all trashed Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman last year. You got to give them credit. And the fact they're getting production from people like Rizzo and Rodon, who were non-factors last year, is a big reason. And at number 1, the Atlanta Braves. Not a big argument. I would probably, yeah, I think I picked the Braves at number 1. So there you go. I'm going to right now, hold on a second. I'm going to put on here. And there I am back. We do have one commenter. And hey, my old buddy Chris Palm says, Sully's the best. Great commentary and analysis. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for waking up and watching us. All right. And by the way, let's go through. We talked about the Mariners have climbed into first place. So let's go through the trivia question there. Who is the only Mariners manager in their history to have gone to the Hall of Fame? who is their only Hall of Fame manager in the history of the Seattle Mariners. There you go. I've spread that one out to the world. They've had some big name managers take the reins of that team. Who's the only one to be a Hall of Famer? All right, so power rankings are in. We got a full slate of games coming out. And if this is not enough of your pal Sully, then guess what? You can listen to me on Locked On A's. There's a brand new episode of Locked On A's that's already dropped. I'm dropping 2 more tomorrow. Going through the power rankings of the day, this has been Locked On MLB for the 24th day of April 2024. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.